What the dog doing?
Welcome to Floptober.
This month, Andy and I are taking on some old and new horror films and discussing our thoughts on these terrifying tales and movies of the macabre. Today, we're delving into the world of Pet Sematary Bloodlines 2023, a horror film that serves as a prequel to the terrifying legacy of Stephen King's classic tale. Does this movie honor the dark and ominous atmosphere of King's universe, or should it be buried for the good of humanity? Find out in this episode of Flick Flops.
Yay! We'll go to the cemetery.
Yay!
Gary's that say sometimes dead is better.
Dead
That's
to me.
pretty original.
Sorry.
Let's jump into the numbers right quick, Garth.
Right quick now.
That's how my dang old numbers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes, again, our aggregator that we like to jump on and stare at, has this thing sitting at 20 with the critics and 56 with the audience.
I just want to make sure I didn't mishear you. Was that 20?
20. The better years of our life, Gary. 20.
The 20s. Good old 20s.
I'm assuming that's rotten.
That's
If I know my Rotten Tomatoes.
That's quite rotten.
Budget and box office, I have nothing because there's nothing to find out there. I scoured. I did not know. I'm sure if you look deep enough into the interwebs, you can find it. I'm not willing to spend that much time to try to find something that most people don't give two poops about.
Okay.
I was trying to filter myself as I was about to say something. Written by Lindsay Anderson Beer and a guy named Jeff Bueller.
Bueller?
Bueller?
Has anybody seen?
I've waited all day to do that. But wait all day to do that.
Shout out to Kevin on that one.
Kevin Hayes, that was just for you, buddy. If
only
you're
one
watching
guy
this
knows that.
specific episode. That's it. Directed also by Lindsay Anderson Beer. I do not have any information on here. I was actually just trying to find something before we came on today. Again, I know there's something out there, but the few websites that Gary and I frequent to get our information, there just wasn't anything there listed for her. So she writer director. This I think was her directorial debut. There we have it. So that's it for numbers. I don't have a ton to offer anybody on this. It was streaming, which is why there's no production budget numbers. There's no box office numbers because it was only released on Paramount Plus. So if you do not have that, then I don't know how you can watch it at this point. I'm sure at some point in time, Netflix will get it or not.
Somebody.
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe you'll find out soon if you should seek it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this show's pointless and you shouldn't be listening to us anyway, but we're going to continue on.
That's
We're going to carry. Yeah, I just insulted us.
That's not what I meant.
Wait, check on the hookers.
Andy's a dick.
Anyway, so that's all I got. You want to do
Talk about ratings. Talk
ratings?
about rating. Ding
Talk
dong.
about dang old ratings, man.
All right, I'll start once again. I think last time I mentioned that, as Andy usually says, our rating system is backwards. We are never like 5 stars.
Because
stars
why not?
means garbage. We go backwards. We took TPs and poos as our running.
We live in the upside down, as our Stranger Things friends would say.
Yeah. However, with the themed holiday or Halloween themed shows, we are picking something specific to whatever movie that we're talking about. In this case, we're just going to say Kings.
Got it. Nice
So, little nod to the Pet Sematary.
Pull into the reason there is a Pet Cemetery.
With that, I will. I have not, do not have the bullet points like before, but I will tell you that I gave this film 4 Kings.
Whoa.
4 Kings. Andy, what do you got to say?
So based on that, you loved it. No, shit. Damn it. That's right.
Opposite system.
Poop.
Backwards.
So, Gary, I'm close to you. I gave it 3.
Okay.
3 Kings. 3 Kings. we can get into it if you want. I'll go ahead and start. So I gave it 3 for the reason that I'm a King fan to a degree, especially Pet Sematary, and they will say, well, hold on, let me do my quote from a critic, because this will lead into what I'm saying.
Okay.
My critic, who one of the very many rotten ones, Rob Hunter from a site called Film School Rejects. His quote, his review was, "Not every tale suggests a need for more backstory, and Pet Sematary needs absolutely none." I will disagree in the fact that I like the idea of a backstory for the Pet Sematary, and I know there's been a handful of sequels to this movie. So for me, I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the fact that there was a backstory. So that's why I give it 3. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I think there were some things they could have done better. But again, I'm not a director. I'm not a writer. So I can't say to you, hey, you should have done this. I enjoyed the movie. I thought the cast was really good. As far as like, I'll preface that. I didn't love the young Judd Crandall. The young kid. I something about him I just didn't. I don't know. It didn't feel right for me.
Yeah.
But Henry Thomas. I mean, come on. Like, let me pull a picture up here, people. Like, you got to understand where I'm coming from. In my world, this is kid is E.T.
So clearly not a fan. Not clear. Should maybe word this properly. Clearly not a watcher of many Netflix horror franchises. Correct? Are
Right.
you? Okay.
No.
Because he's lately been doing a stint of horror type films.
Well, so I was going to touch on that, because the few things I've seen him in recently, he always plays weird characters.
Yes.
Okay. Am I correct on that?
Yes. Yes.
Because I've seen him recently in something else, and I kept looking at him like, wait a minute, that's the kid from E.T. And I'm like, well, he's playing some kind of weirdo.
Well, interesting enough, I just finished The Fall of the House of Usher, which is the new Netflix horror series that came out, and he's in it. And he plays
save your review for it, because I want to talk to you off camera on that.
Yeah. And so I'm getting more accustomed to seeing him in horror stuff, and he's a fantastic character actor, because whatever role he gets into, it's like he's there, and he's definitely been playing some weird ones. But
well, I thought his character
playing out of his age and stuff too, which is kind of odd.
That's a good call, because I didn't buy him as being. Well, maybe he was. I guess I shouldn't say that. I'll retract that. But I just thought his character was very strange in this movie.
Yes,
I thought David Duchovny was fantastic in this movie.
Yeah,
and I read a review, another one that I'm paraphrasing, but somebody review was what a colossal waste of Duchovny's talent.
Yeah.
Because he was really good in this movie. But the one other thing, my other little thing that bothers me, and this has been an ongoing theme, and I'll show you because I have a picture, Gary. Kids in animal masks. I'm freaked out a little by that. Not a lot bothers me.
There wasn't enough about it. Enough of it in this.
There wasn't. But when I see this, I'm just. It seems. Look, I'm an adult. I've read a lot of Stephen King movies. This seems creepy to me, and I can't get past that.
So we now know how to freak Andy out on Halloween, people.
Yeah, and not I'm not like, I don't ever want to see it again. But when I see it, I instantly I get a little like the goose flesh. I'm like, ooh, this isn't. It's like me being up in heights. I get a little nervous. Change the scene. Let's move on. Okay, I got it. The creepy kids. Let's see someone getting their head cut off. But I'll get short. I enjoyed the prequel. I like the idea of understanding a little more about the Pet Sematary, where we got to. The story doesn't move super great. There's some stuff that moves too fast. I can nitpick 2 things that just bothered the shit out of me when I saw it. The young kid, Judd Crandall, when he comes back, he's mad because he just found out that his family was forefathers of Ludlow, Maine.
Mm-hmm.
And he squeals and locks up his tires right in front of the house on a major road.
Yep.
When there is a driveway.
Yep.
And he just leaves the car sit there. I'm like,
mention that.
Hey, dummy.
Yeah, I mentioned that to my daughter. I was like, "What is
And
he
I'm like,
doing
yeah, no, you have a driveway, dumbass.
on a highway?" Never I mean, they do play into. There's a couple things I do want to say about this movie, but on that note, real quick, I'll just say they hammer home the whole semi thing from
Yes,
the original Pet
and,
Sematary
and there's
thing.
a hint of it.
Yeah, they play that a few times in that thing, and so when you see him parking on the street, you're like, when's this car gonna get
That's
hit?
your opportunity.
Because it kept feeling like surely that's gonna happen.
Well, yeah, the one scene where he's out running around with the shotgun, I was like, oh, here's where this is gonna. But I was like, well, they can't kill him. He has
Yeah,
to be in the original movie.
right. Yeah,
But again, there's you could nitpick this thing easy because there's a lot of low hanging fruit. I'm not here to do that. I think this is a decent film. I haven't seen all the Pet Sematary sequels. I probably won't unless Gary makes me watch them. But I like King. I like the Pet Sematary. This is one of my favorite King books. It was actually the second one I read, thanks to Gary. And I thought this movie was good. And I did want and need the prequel. And I do believe there's another movie in the works for this. By the way, there's a sequel.
okay. So I will say, first of all, to start with your point about the acting, I don't really have a problem with the majority of the acting in this. However, there was one character, and I'm trying to remember what his role was. Um, Pam Grier calls him up on the phone when
Oh yeah,
discussing,
I know who you're talking about.
and the acting from that dude was the worst.
You really think Bill buried Timmy?
This is how it starts. Just stirring up shit.
Yeah, you're right. That's how it starts. Stir shit up. Knowing your secrets, your darkest thoughts, playing with its food. Then people start dying.
People start fucking dying.
Jesus, it's back.
I was like,
I completely forgot about it. I know you're
yeah,
talking about that.
aside from that guy, the acting in it I thought was pretty good.
Yes. Pam
and-
Grier was a nice surprise.
And yeah, and standing on the merits of just that, you could say well acted film. But my problem with the movie is for one, that I got a bug flare.
You just reminded me of something else I want to talk about.
Okay.
So.
The problem with the movie for me was it just seemed like a bunch of ideas thrown in and not executed well.
I'll agree with that.
The one
I'll allow it.
Thank you. I watched this with my youngest daughter, and she turned to me. It's a pretty short movie too. It's not a very long one. She turned to me maybe a third of the way into the movie and was like, "This is a lot of information." And I was like, "That's perfect because that's exactly how I feel." It felt like the pacing of the beginning of the movie, the whole first third of it, was like, we got to get to all these things and have all these things happen, and they just felt disjointed. It never felt like it ever came together as a secure, like a full story. It felt like it was just like a bunch of things thrown in a mix.
Check the box. All right, got it.
And that to me ruined it. It took me out of it because I was like I don't know what is important. And then when it would get to the parts that you really feel like they could spend a lot of time on, it was like they would speed up the parts that should be slow, and then the parts that should be faster were really dragging. And that's essentially what I thought.
That's where I wanted you to remind me of. So getting back to when Mr. Crandall calls Pam Grier and she calls so and so, and they all right. What I didn't like about that scene, and you were getting there because they were kind of rushing it. To me, that played like it's it. The movie, because like it's back again, it's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, that was never part of Pet Sematary. The cemetery's always been there.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the big panic? Like, oh my God, we gotta take care of this now.
Right.
Now, what they're alluding to, and I don't want to spoil it here, is the one thing that is coming back. That I understand, but you make it sound like in the movie the way that scene plays is like we got to go kill the clown again. He's back. He's coming up out of the sewers again.
It's an entity or something. Yeah.
No, that's not at all what's happening. The Pet Sematary exists. It will always exist.
Yeah.
And you can't destroy it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's Pennywise. So to me, I didn't like that. That was very confusing. It didn't make it made zero sense. And the whole nervous, panicked phone calls and we got to confront it right now. Confront what? Confront the cemetery is what you got to confront, and you can't do anything about it.
I'm hoping to drop a clip of that guy I'm talking about in here. So hopefully,
I'm glad you said
that because
completely forgettable acting on that. And when you said that, I was like, oh my God, I forgot I wanted to mention that. But so yeah, there we go. Sorry.
That's all right.
I yield the rest of my time to the man from Ohio.
That's pretty much all I had to say. I just want to make sure I got those points out and give Chloe credit because Chloe did turn to me and say, "This is a lot of information." And I was like, "You ain't kidding."
I wish I had someone to watch the movies with, so we could do a little bounce back and forth. But
so
as long as we're doing horror films, Teresa's not involved.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I turned her at the end of the movie and I was like, "Well, what'd you think of that?" She went, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you."
Yeah, well, so again,
there's some potential. There's definitely some potential, and they definitely had some good acting. It just felt like the story was a mess.
Look, I'd much rather see these films than more Children of the Corn. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
The problem is with Hollywood is they just want to keep hammering on one successful movie, then they make a franchise out of it, and there didn't need to be. You know, King is a good enough writer, and he's got plenty of material out there. But I thought if you're gonna, make another Pet Sematary, this is a decent way to do it. You're going back 50 years from the last movie, which again the same producer that De Bonaventure made the one in 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. This is 50 years before this one, so it's set in 59. Is that right? 50? Does that work out? 50
somewhere
years?
Around there. Yeah.
No, 69. Sorry, Vietnam. There was
yeah. That's right. 16, that's true. Yeah.
I went to Amelia.
They bounce around with time periods in it a little bit too.
For those that want to know, mathematics was not my.
No, not went to Amelia. One other point about the kind of disjointedness of it that I forgot that I wanted to write as a note, but it just reminded me. There are different voices in the film too. You know, you usually will get like the perspective of one character through a film, and you'll kind of follow that character through it, or you might have like a voiceover, and the voiceover is one character. This broke that a few times, and you've got the movie from one guy's point of view. Then later, there's a narrative of like history, which is read from another character's point of view, and then there was a diary that Judd finds, and that read then from his father's point of view or whatever. Man, I don't know if you can see
his grandfather's point of view. No, I can't. Looks like you're freaking out on mushrooms or something. Yeah, what do you at a Fish concert?
I shouldn't have taken this, but anyway, that to me was a little bit that broke it a little bit for me too. When you do it that many times, not to say that you can't do the voiceover and all that stuff. Clearly, you can do that, but
pick a lane.
Breaking the voice of the character for so many different parts to me made it feel more disjointed. So,
and one last note that I was just now thought of is it was hard for me to see because we know who played Judd Crandall in the original Pet Sematary. Now, in the last one that they did in 2019, I think it was John Lithgow who played it. So, but I keep seeing Herman Munster.
Yeah. Fred Gwynn.
Fred Gwynn. Jeez, I drew an absolute blank. Sorry, Fred Gwynn. Rest in wherever you're at. But anyway, I keep seeing Fred Gwynn, and I see this kid, and I don't. Not saying stylistically like he doesn't look like him. I just don't see this character as the character I know from Pet Sematary.
Arigato. So distracting.
Arigato to you, Gary.
Dude, it's so distracting. You get those little anyway.
So anyway, that's it. Creepy masks are in this movie for a minute. Bothers me.
Real quick on the Fred Gwynn note. I will note that I watched another YouTuber's story. I will look that up and put it in the notes. I watched a YouTuber that did a story about Fred Gwynn, and he's got a fascinating backstory.
Should we do a Patreon episode about Fred Gwynn?
I like the arched eyebrow. Yeah. Shout out to this guy that did it. It was a great video. I will put it somewhere in the comments so that you can go over and give that guy some love too, because it's a really well done video. I think it might be like a year old or something, but still, fascinating story. And you really feel for that guy, by the way, with the stuff that he went through in his life. But underappreciated Fred Gwynn for our generation.
And I'm a fan of his. I'll give him all props. I'm a fan. I grew up watching the Munsters, and then in film when I'd see him play roles. I mean, my cousin Vinny, the two what?
Yeah.
The two Utes.
Yeah.
What's a Ute? Great actor.
Yeah.
And I loved him in Pet Sematary. I mean, I absolutely loved his character. So
turns out quite the artist as well.
Oh yeah.
Interesting enough.
I mean, he draws good pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. He's artistic.
I'm so bad when I just dive into something. End it, Gary, so I can go off on a
all right
non-politically correct rant.
There you go. Like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. Let us know if you saw Pet Sematary Bloodlines and what you thought of the movie. Tell us how right we are about this one.
Yeah, come on, Event Horizon. Come on this with Jeff.
Oh, call it out again.
What?
Ooh,
yeah.
That's going to burn.
Actually, we'll probably agree on this one, Jeff. So I'll talk to you later.
I don't even know if he'll watch this one, to be honest.
Well, if you're watching, Jeff, you'll probably agree with this one, and we'll talk later.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. We will catch you next time with
Flick Floptober.
I don't have that. This has been a Touch of Madness production, brought to you by the creative minds at Tommy Twins Media.